Good evening, and we're going to talk tonight about more evidence that the rapture happens before the tribulation. And I want to start off by mentioning too that the pre-tribulation rapture, which if you listen to any of my videos, you understand what I'm talking about, meaning that the rapture or the catching up of the church, born again Jew and Gentile believers, will take place before the 70-year tribulation, or commonly referred to as also as Daniel's 70th week, or Jacob's trouble, or Israel's trouble. And this is not a theory. This is actual evidence proven by the scriptures. If you take the scriptures literally and read them as they are intended to be read, there is no other conclusion but to come to is that the true believers will escape the judgment that's going to come upon the earth. Now we know that the true believers will escape eternal damnation or eternal punishment in the lake of fire, but there's also a judgment upon the earth that's going to happen to one particular generation on this earth, and I believe that time is very close. But I believe also the scripture is very clear that we have not been appointed to wrath or to Yahuwah's wrath, but we've been appointed to deliverance or salvation. As I mentioned in many of my other videos, you never see the righteous being judged with the ungodly. We are, if you are truly born again, as I've shared with you many times, you are righteous. Now, being righteous is not doing everything perfect. That doesn't mean that you and I don't miss it, and still, because we're still in a fallen body that still inclines to sin. And as long as you're still in this fallen body, you and I are going to be subject to sin. But as far as the way that the Creator, Yahuwah, the way He sees you and I, is that He sees us holy and perfected before Him without sin. Paul made reference to the fact is in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 24, he said, "And you put on the new man, which after Yahuwah is created in righteousness, in true holiness," or set apartness. He said, you put on the new man. There is a new man on the inside. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, "Therefore, if any man be in Messiah, he is a new creature." Notice that, he's a new creation already. Now we're waiting for the adoption to be complete, the redemption of our body, and at that moment, that in a twinkling of an eye, we shall be changed, and we'll put on immortality, not subject to sin anymore, not subject to death or disease or the frailties of humankind. We will be as He is. The scripture says that when He shall appear, of course that's talking about the rapture, talking about Messiah, when He appears, we shall be like Him, for we shall see Him as He is. And every man that has this hope in him purifies himself, even as He is pure. Just the fact is that you and I know that the rapture could happen any moment is a purifying effect upon us. In other words, we want to live separate from the world. We don't want to be caught up in the things of the world, because we want to have confidence and not be ashamed at Him before His coming. Now there's a reference of that in 1 John. It talks about that we would not be ashamed. There will be some believers who will be ashamed because they're not living for Him, but they're going in the rapture because all true believers are part of the bride of the Messiah, and we will be caught up to have the judgment seat of the Messiah, and will also participate in the marriage of the Lamb. So all believers will be there, but there will be some people who will be ashamed because they're not living for the Messiah. They're caught up in a lot of worldly things, but they are born again, and that's the key. You have to be born of the Ruach HaKodesh, the set apart spirit, in order to participate in the rapture. And that's good news. But we should have that purifying effect upon our lives that he could come any moment, and we want to please him. And I know you want to hear him say, well done, good and faithful servant. And so I'm not going to have time to read my notes that I want to get into. So we'll try to pick this up on our next session, and we'll try to get this in tonight before it gets totally dark. So please listen in, and thank you so much for your encouragement. And please, again, share my videos with anyone that would have ears to hear and that wants to know the truth about the rapture, because we're living in the time frame that these words about the rapture are so important for us today because of the terrible things that are going on in the earth today. And I believe that we're the generation that all these scriptures talking about, that the message of the rapture is comfort to the church. And may these words bring comfort to you tonight. And knowing that our redemption is drawing near. Until next time, shalom.